Harry and Meghan have had a weird relationship. So weird, some people think it's actually a conspiracy to topple the US government. Back in May 2017, arguably the hottest social event in London high society was the wedding of Kate Middleton's sister, Pippa Middleton, to James Matthews. At the time, reports claimed that there was one big rule attached to the invites. The only plus ones allowed had to be spouses or fiancés. As Markle's relationship with Prince Harry appeared to be heating up at that time, royal watchers wondered whether she'd be on Harry's arm during the wedding. As it turned out, Markle abided by the no bling, no bring rule and did not attend the ceremony with Harry. She did, however, show up at the newlyweds' reception later that day, reportedly making a grand entrance. A source told E! News at the time, "Right now, Harry and Meghan are leaning towards not wanting to attract extra attention, especially on a day that's not about them." Samantha Markle began slamming half-sister Meghan Markle in the tabloids almost immediately after she began dating Prince Harry. Early on, she called her a social climber with a soft spot for gingers. Even though Samantha hadn't seen her half-sister since 2008, she had some strong opinions, saying, "Hollywood has changed her. I think her ambition is to become a princess." The whole drama ascended to a whole other level after Meghan and Harry got married. In October 2018, Samantha made a trip to London and paid a visit to Kensington Palace, followed by an entourage of media, of course, to confront her sister about why their father didn't attend the wedding. In any case, the stunt bombed when Samantha was turned away by security and tried to leave her sister a note. Once Prince Harry and Meghan Markle stepped down as senior royals, they needed to secure their own financial independence outside of the royal family. For the couple, that led them to enter various deals, including a highly lucrative contract with Netflix. Reportedly worth $100 million, the deal called for the couple to produce documentaries, a docuseries, feature films, scripted TV series, and even children's programming for the streaming service. That docuseries finally debuted in December 2022. Titled Harry and Meghan, the series allowed the Duke and Duchess of Sussex to tell their own love story from their perspective. Given all the scurrilous tabloid reporting about the two, there was a huge degree of curiosity about the project. Once it was released, Harry and Meghan did not disappoint when it came to the new revelations it offered. Among those were how they met, with Harry recalling seeing his future bride on a friend's Instagram and then asking if he'd be able to meet her. He also revealed he was late for their first date, that their third date took place in Botswana, and that they bonded over the fact that each of them was the product of a divorced family. More than 2 million viewers watched the docuseries in the US alone.
I'm like, "Are you safe? This is fine." He's like, "We're fine. Promise I'll keep you safe." And I believed him.
You put a lot of faith and a lot of trust in me.
One of the more intriguing revelations from the Netflix documentary series Harry and Meghan was a rule that Markle had instituted involving how often they saw each other when they were dating, which was both specific and non-negotiable. Harry said, "She had a 2-week rule. We had to see each other in or around 2 weeks. I said, how is that even possible with the stuff that I'm doing? I'm not going to be able to travel to see you that much." Markle, however, was insistent. Whatever schedule he had to adjust to abide by that rule, she expected him to do it. However, there was a very important reason underlying her rule. She explained, "We had to get to know each other before the rest of the world and the media joined it." That said, Markle revealed that Harry also had his own set of criteria involving a future bride. Markle said he had a list, apparently, of what he was looking for. An extensive list.
This is the list.
Good answer.
Entertainment mogul Tyler Perry played a crucial role when Prince Harry and Meghan Markle made the move from London to California after stepping down as senior royals. When they first arrived in California, they secretly stayed at a Beverly Hills home owned by Perry, which he'd offered them even though he'd never met them. Appearing on the Let's Talk Off Camera with Kelly Ripa podcast, Perry revealed that he reached out to Markle before her wedding, telling her he could sense she was becoming overwhelmed. "I sent them a note and just said, if you ever need anything, I'm here." And she called months later and just talked to me like I was a therapist you talked to, and we just had a great conversation. Markle shared her side of that interaction in an interview with The Cut, admitting it took her some time to get back to Perry after receiving his note. When they did speak, however, she shared everything she'd been going through in the eye of the royal hurricane. Sometimes you can tell your life story to a stranger on a plane as opposed to some of the people that are closest to you. Prince Harry's relationship with his family is hanging by a thread, and it's all because of his wife. Or at least, that's the claim made by royal commentator Michael Cole. As Cole told GB News in 2023, Harry is no longer on speaking terms with either his brother Prince William or his father King Charles, while Markle is likewise estranged from everyone in her family except her mother. Harry's relationship with his family, Cole claimed, became particularly frayed after the sordid revelations he divulged in his book, Spare, spilling salacious family details. Cole said, "It is difficult to see how those relationships are going to be mended without some apologies on the part of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex. They are showing no signs of that." Vanity Fair writer Vanessa Gregoriadis claims a big reason for these familial fractures has to do with what she describes as Markle's tenuous relationship with reality. Gregoriadis said on the On the Edge podcast, "She has this warped reality, and then she marshals evidence underneath it to support a thesis that may not be the case." The tense relationship between Meghan Markle and her father Thomas Markle has been well documented, mainly by Thomas himself, who's given several television interviews declaring just that. Among these interviews was one in which he threatened to sue because she wouldn't let him see his grandchildren, saying, "I'm very upset as well because this is a cruel thing to do to a grandparent." He also pointed out that he was in the same boat as King Charles.
Not just me, to the King of England as well.
In an episode of the Harry and Meghan docuseries, Prince Harry admitted that he was likely the reason why his wife's relationship with her dad wound up cratering as it did. Of course, it's incredibly sad what happened. She had a father before this, and now she doesn't have a father. And I shouldered that because if Meg wasn't with me, then her dad would still be her dad. Released in January 2023, Spare made headlines for its numerous salacious details, ranging from Prince Harry's battles, both verbal and physical, with his brother Prince William, to Harry's frostbitten, little prince. One of the weirdest things revealed in the book, though, is the fact that during the birth of their first child, Archie, Harry got whacked out on laughing gas. He wrote that he was in the delivery room when Markle was instructed to inhale nitrous oxide, and he decided to join in. "I took several slow, penetrating hits. Meg, bouncing on a giant purple ball, a proven way of giving nature a push, laughed and rolled her eyes. I took several more hits, and now I was bouncing too." As the intensity of Markle's contractions increased, a nurse entered and attempted to administer some gas to her, but couldn't due to the empty tank because Harry had inhaled it all. Luckily, they had a spare on hand, something Harry is all too familiar with. In the Netflix documentary series Harry and Meghan, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle discussed how they first met. As they recounted, their origin can be traced to social media. Meghan and I met over Instagram. I was scrolling through my feed and someone who was a friend had this video of the two of them. That was the first thing. I was like, "Who is that?" Harry said that he asked that friend to introduce them. That jibes with a 2017 BBC interview when Harry revealed that they were set up by a mutual friend. At the time, though, Meghan shut down any further inquiry, saying,
We should protect her privacy
Protect
and
her
not
privacy,
reveal
yeah.
too much of that.
Obviously, by the time their Netflix deal was cut, their feelings had changed regarding how much to share. But conspiracy theorists find the minor differences in the story to be meaningful. Speaking of which, as a couple, Prince Harry and Meghan Markle have generated countless headlines. In addition to that, their relationship has also been the source of some pretty out-there conspiracy theories. For example, when Markle became pregnant with their first child, rumors emerged that she was faking the whole thing to drum up publicity, which made no sense at all given the incessant publicity the couple was already receiving. Another crazy conspiracy theory claimed that the couple's move to the United States was part of a secret plot for Britain to regain control of the United States, with plans for one of Harry's American-born heirs to someday win the presidency and take back the colonies. Talk about playing the long game. And another absurdly deranged conspiracy theory contended that the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's 2018 visit to Fiji was cut short because the Queen was offended by the wedge shoes Markle was wearing. Actor Paul Bettany made fun of the whole thing while making a 2018 appearance on The Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon, saying, "I think that Meghan Markle might be a sleeper agent for the US government. The dad doing the photos thing, it's like a false flag event. I think the CIA's involved. Everybody. I think Piers Morgan's involved."